Welcome everybody to the next podcast on Seize Your Business. I'm Bryan McDonald from OnPurpose Growth. This is Kevin O'Flaherty of O'Flaherty Law. And on this episode, we're going to be talking about a continuation of some topics that Kevin had started in regards to marketing. And I'll let Kevin dive into kind of where we left off and where we're going to go.
Yeah, so last time we talked about kind of the interconnected web of marketing activity that you need to be aware of in order to be successful. You know, we said you can't really just do one thing. Search engine optimization depends on your social media, which depends on content creation, which depends on content distribution. So this time what I'd like to do is talk about search engine optimization, which is really probably the most important of all of the things that we do. Everything kind of feeds into that. So again, this is going to be a little different from a lot of our episodes because we're not going to have a guest. We're going to kind of share our own knowledge and kind of do this in kind of a chronological is the wrong word, but kind of do it in a logical way that makes sense episode by episode. So Brian's going to be interviewing me on this, and thank you for doing that.
Yeah, it'll be fun picking your brain on this stuff. So. So you said SEO and search engine optimization, for everybody that doesn't know, is really key to your business. Help me understand that.
Yeah. So our business really kind of took off when my uncle gave me a call and said, "Hey, did you know you're number one when you Google Downers Grove attorney?" And I had no idea. I wasn't paying a ton of attention. We had started the podcast kind of, basically for fun and as a way to give back to our referral sources. Yeah. And just the podcast, having that content on our website had popped us up to number one for Downers Grove Attorney without me really doing too much else.
That's exciting.
Yeah. And so that got my attention, and I spent basically a year learning everything I could about search engine optimization, reading textbooks that SEO experts read, not like the 50-page ebooks you find online, but kind of the real thing, and kind of learning everything that I could. And I started meeting with SEO experts that I was trying to hire to take me from point B to point C, and I quickly discovered that I knew, the information they were giving me was outdated, and I knew more about it than they did. So I kind of took it on, and that's a lot of what I do is kind of work on strategies for search engine optimization. But the reason I started with talking about the web of marketing activity was that SEO kind of depends on, it's not just doing all the stuff on your page. You can't, it's really hard to hire somebody just to tinker with your web page to make it work. It's really much more organic, and it depends on a lot of outside activities that are real life and off the internet to make it actually work right.
What do you mean by the outside activities?
Sure. So Google looks at basically three major factors when determining who's going to rank in its searches. Okay. And one of them is the proximity of the searcher. You don't have a ton of control over that, although we're trying to set up basically brick and mortar locations so that we have a wider geographical range.
Is that so you're closer to the people searching, basically?
Right. So when people search, it's for the convenience of our clients too, but really it's so that when people in Naperville are searching for, Naperville attorney, we win the proximity fight.
Yeah, I got it.
And so, but proximity is the one that, unless you're willing to actually set up more locations, there's not much you can do about it.
It's tough, right?
The next factor and the next easiest to conquer is on-page optimization. So they call it keyword relevance. Okay. So if someone types in Downers Grove divorce attorney, Google is going to analyze all the pages in the internet and find the ones that are relevant to that term. So you've got to do things on your page to let Google know that you want to be found for Downers Grove divorce attorney. So on-page optimization is when you pay people to do SEO. That's what they're doing. And I'll go into some detail about what you have to do for on-page optimization, but it's really the easiest thing. It's once you get a quick handle on your website, it's making sure that your titles, your headlines on your site have the keyword in it, that you've got the keyword mentioned a bunch of times throughout your site, and everybody's doing that. So on-page optimization won't get you very far.
Yeah, it's a big battle, right? It's a tug of war. Everybody's pulling basically the same rope to get to the top of
It's kind of like more like the battle will be the last factor, which is page authority, and I'll talk about that.
All right.
But I wouldn't say on-page optimization is a battle. It's more like a prerequisite to even get in the game. It's like
that's just the
buying a baseball bat doesn't make you a good baseball player, but you got to have a baseball bat if you want to get in the baseball game.
Exactly, right? You're just getting into the game, but you still got to do a bunch of other things.
Yeah, so just having your page keyword targeted won't do a lot of good for you unless there's very little competition in that space.
Okay.
And you mentioned when we were getting ready for the episode and talking offline that you guys kind of stumbled across getting found for some of your Eventbrite events.
Yeah, we did. It's amazing, right?
I think what happened there. So tell me a little bit about that, and I'll explain why that happened.
Okay, no, thank you. So there were two events. We typically set up Eventbrite events, thought leadership events. We bring people in, we invite people, and at one of our last events, we had three attendees. Two came together, two separate parties. One was searching for sales, coaching, business development consultants on Google, and our Eventbrite event popped up in his feed, so he registered and brought a guy. Another lady where she was on Eventbrite registering for a different event, and after that she was shown results in Google of one of our other events, and she said, hey, that's a relevant topic to me, I'm going to register. So
that was housed on the Eventbrite website, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Okay, so what probably happened there is that Eventbrite has a lot of page authority, and you had keyword relevance for that event. People were, you probably had a lot of keywords that people were searching for.
Now that you're saying that, inside the Eventbrite page in the description, there was a lot of information, right? Not too much, but not too little. So what I think you're saying is we most likely had keywords inside that page that drove those people to it.
Right. So, and one of two things happened. Either, since you didn't put any real effort into SEO on that one, either there probably wasn't a ton of competition for those keywords, or Eventbrite, the site itself, gets found on Google, and that has authority. And so I'll talk about kind of page authority, and that's where the battle is. That's where the fight is, and it's why you don't really want to pay anybody to do SEO for you, I don't think, unless... I haven't found anyone I want to pay to do it anyway.
Really?
Because it's really hard to do. You have to have. It's like a full contact. You've got to be doing it all the time.
Oh, it's a full-time position.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
it's basically it's a lot easier to do in-house than it is to pay somebody. And so what page authority is Google keeps track of all of the links between all of the different websites on the internet. So it knows which sites are linking to which other sites. And the sites with the most links coming to them build up page authority, meaning that Google says that this is an important page. It's something that other pages on the internet find to be important because they're linking to it. So this site has a lot of page authority. Like, for example, Yelp is a site with a lot of page authority. There's a lot of people that will link to their own Yelp page. For some reason, there's a lot of people linking to Yelp. Wikipedia has a ton of page authority. It's a legit page. When you start your business, no matter how many keywords you've got, and you first launch your web page, you've got zero page authority. Nobody's linking to you, so you're not going to rank high in Google's rankings.
Right.
So what Google does is it ranks. It's pretty simple. It ranks the closest in proximity with the most keywords targeted to you with the highest page authority.
Oh, okay.
And that's how it determines what's going to show up when you search something. So even if, assuming everyone's done their on-page optimization and we all have the same amount of keywords.
Yeah, everything else being equal.
Yeah, we've reached that. And there's a certain threshold where, once you have a certain amount of keywords on your page, you're on the same page with everybody else. It's not like adding 3 or 4 more is going to make a difference.
Oh, really? So there's kind of like there's a limit, and if you go
diminishing returns. Once you're relevant for a keyword, you're relevant for a keyword, and then it comes down to proximity and page authority. And page authority is, there might be a law firm in Texas with massive page authority that is in Texas, so my customers aren't going to find them, even though they have way more page authority than I am. But so you're kind of, proximity determines the pool you're competing for geographically, and then within that pool, it comes down to page authority. And so page authority is basically the number of good quality links you have coming to your website. And when your page has page authority, so Yelp has page authority, they're able to pass on some of that page authority to other people by giving them a link. The more links that are outgoing from a website, the more diminished the page authority is that it passes on. So it dilutes the amount each link passes on.
Got it.
So if my website has huge page authority and I just have one outgoing link on it and it's to your website, you're going to get all the page authority from my website. Really? But if I have 5 links, it's going to be divided by 5.
Yeah, got it.
But if I have 30 links coming in, I'm still passing on good page authority with my 5 links.
Got it.
So the key, the way you win the battle for SEO is to get more quality links to your website from other people.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, 100%. So if I can kind of say this back to you, so since on Yelp, let's just use restaurants, right? So many restaurants are pointing back to their Yelp site that it's building the authority of Yelp.
Yeah, and I'd imagine that's how it works. In
general,
yeah,
right? In general, right?
And some of these mega sites like Yelp, I'm not sure if they get it from links pointing back to them, but that's how it would work.
Well,
there's probably a lot of other things pointing to Yelp that makes it a relevant site.
You just can't go and you set up your website, I set up my website, and we push a bunch of our pages and links back to each other, and now we're going to get authority. It's not just one-to-one.
Yes, so it used to be that way. Google keeps changing their algorithm and getting smarter. So people used to be able to buy links to their so there's hundreds of pages that are set up to sell links from their directory.
Right.
People used to be able to just basically trade links where these directories would say, yeah, put a link to our directory on your site, we'll give you a link back, and it's a trade, just like what we were talking about with that Yelp scenario, everyone's cross-linking. So what Google did is if you pay for links or if you have reciprocal links on your website, they're not... Now, reciprocal, I'm not sure exactly how bad it is to have a reciprocal link,
right?
But in theory, paying for links and just getting reciprocal links from sites that do that aren't going to help you, and in fact, they can hurt you. So it's called spammy links. It's like those crappy sites that are just set up to make links.
Yeah,
you have to be careful. They're gonna actually hurt your page ranking if you get spam links on.
Because Google knows, hey, this site that's selling links, they're not legit. They're not legit. They're just selling links, so they just take those links and kind of put them to the side and say they're really not worth anything if overall hurting you.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
And so when it comes down to SEO, the first thing you do is and we'll I think we should do another episode where we talk about how to do the on-page optimization.
Yeah, that'd be phenomenal.
We'll talk in detail about the link building strategies we found. But this all came from, first you want to get your on-page optimization done. You want to buy your baseball bat so you can enter the game. And then you're competing. And there's various levels of building page authority. So, the first thing you do, low-hanging fruit, is get listed on all the business directories in your area. Yellow pages, get listed on, make sure you have a Google Plus page, Yelp. But there's also hundreds of other business directories that are legitimate that you can get listed on. So anywhere you can get listed, that'll at least put you in the game with competitors who have done the basic link building.
Yep.
Then once you've done that, that was enough to get us to the front page of Downers Grove. But if we want to be dominant, we've got to do other things. So things like having an ebook so you can get listed on ebook directories, having a podcast and video so you can get listed on podcast directories. So you want to develop other assets other than just your business that you can get links to.
Right.
The thing that really made us take off was having people that we were having on as guests to the podcast link to our page because they're like, hey, I'm on this podcast.
Yeah, right.
So that's how we accidentally got to be number one for Downers Grove Attorney, because I was just doing this podcast and sharing it with
other people, and it helped you without you knowing it.
Right. So and so that's where when I say it has a lot to do with what you do in real life, not just the thinking you're going to tinker with it for a weekend and get up to number one. And that's why I don't really want to hire people to do it, because unless I'm putting in the effort to make great content that people are going to want to link to,
right,
paying somebody to give me, to write crappy content for me or to try to, get me listed on link directories, it probably won't hurt anything, but it's a lot of money, that resources that can be spent elsewhere, and you can spend it on developing your own.
Yeah, so you can't ultimately manufacture the SEO by paying somebody to do it. You have to make sure that your daily mode of operation inside the business gives you the ability to leverage your SEO.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And community, and one of the things that's made us like go to the next level is lately we've been kind of getting involved with charities like Dive Hard and REO and Little Friends, and just kind of getting involved in the community, and we do stuff with them. We put on events with them, and then we'll get a link from their website to our event, and we'll link to them, and everybody wins. And so it's really about doing all the stuff you would do with networking and getting your hands, dirty's the wrong word, but rolling up your sleeves, getting into the community, but then thinking about in the back of your mind, hey, how can I leverage this, like you said, to get, links to our website, how do we... And you could do it by accident, but sometimes building your strategy around that is the way to go.
Yeah, and it sounds like this is truly building a web, right? It's not just the internet web. You're building a web of online and offline activities that are bringing themselves together, that are pushing your SEO, which is pushing your business forward.
That's exactly right. And all these activities we do, it's kind of like sales and regular business development, where if you make 10 calls, one of them might turn into a client. If we have 10 guests on, we might have one link to our website. If I go out and go to a bunch of networking events, I might have one opportunity that develops into something that helps the SEO. But once you get that link, it's usually permanent. It's why I like it better than traditional sales, because you are building a foundation that doesn't go away. It's why I don't want to pay for Google AdWords or Facebook marketing. And maybe someday I'll get into that, but once your ad money stops, the ad goes away. When you're doing SEO work, when you're actually getting links to your website, it's there and it's not going away.
Forever.
Google could change its algorithm, but if you're doing it the right way Google wants to reward companies that are actually out there getting involved and doing stuff. So if you're not doing spammy sites and you're doing it the right way, it's something that at some point you could stop paying for any of, my marketing budget is spent on my marketing team. I've got 4 great people that help me do all the stuff we're doing. Before then it was my job. But in theory you could stop all of your marketing activity at some point and have it all still there. I don't think that's
it's probably not the
great
best
idea.
business plan, but in essence that's what you could do if you chose to take your marketing dollars and push them in a different direction outside of that. So so is there anything else that that the viewers and listeners need to hear about in regards to this that maybe we didn't cover?
Yeah, so there's the last little thing I'll tell you is there's a couple other pieces to the formula. So the big things, like I said, are proximity, relevance, and authority.
Got it.
But there's also social media cues. And I should say that everything we know about SEO, we always talk about Google because 90% of people search on Google. Bing and Yahoo are out there, but if you do well for Google, you'll probably do well for them. But everything we know about Google it's kind of mystical and magical, and there's no
moving target.
Nobody knows the formula exactly, and even the best experts are kind of guessing because Google is tight-lipped about it because they don't want people gaming the system, and it's always changing. But from what we can tell, social media plays a role in that. So how many friends your page has, how many shares you get. But I don't think it's as big a role as the other 3 factors. So having an active social media game is an important piece of the puzzle, but it's not one of the main ingredients. You should do it, and it probably will help you. But systematize it. Right now we don't focus too hard on that. It's again part of that web, and you've got to do all those things.
So it sounds like the social media adds to the SEO. And they're 2 separate strategies.
Yeah, I would say that about every aspect of our marketing strategy is that all of the different, whether it's networking or content distribution or building a listener base, they're all distinct strategies, but they all add to the SEO. It's kind of like SEO is winning the war, and all of those strategies, whether it's link building, relevance, getting more locations through proximity, social media, networking, they're your Marines, Air Force, you know,
I like
Army.
Yeah.
They're all, you need all of
That's
them.
That's your force to win the war.
Yeah.
In the battle.
And ultimately, if you're ranking high on Google, then your blog articles rank, so you're getting found there. Your landing pages that you build for particular keywords rank, and that's what winning looks like. It's not. You don't have social media followers on your page for the sake of selling directly to them. At least
exactly.
I don't.
I don't think that's a good strategy either, right?
You have them to basically reshare your content, get people excited in what you're doing.
Offer validity to who you are and what you're doing.
Yeah.
Things like that. So.
Yep. And social media links count to some extent as links to your page, but we're not sure. You know, it's not like getting a link from, you know, probably your website, even though you haven't done a lot of SEO work, would be a better link for me than, you know, my own Facebook post.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But it matters to have, you know, if you've got a good Facebook page with a lot of followers, if they're resharing your stuff and you're linking to it, we think that has some effect on it. So next time we do this, we'll kind of talk probably. I'd go in this order. We'll probably talk about on-page optimization because that's the prerequisite, and then we'll go into depth, and it might be a couple episodes about link building strategies because that's where the rubber meets the road on everything, and everything in marketing comes down to link building. So we've got some really weird and cool stuff we're doing, and we're pretty cutting edge with that, and I can talk a long time about that. So thanks for interviewing me today. And
this is exciting for me. I learned a lot today, and everybody else keep plugged into the Seize Your Business podcast, especially if you're interested in the marketing and the web of marketing. Kevin obviously knows a lot about it, and we're just getting started on this kind of what you want to call it, not episodes, but
I'd say I'd consider it a course. I mean, I'll basically teach everything. I'm doing some. People are asking me to speak about this elsewhere, so I might as well share it with my listeners, and we'll kind of teach you everything I know about. We'll start with marketing, and then we'll go on to the stuff that I'm less good at.
Less good.
But, you know, the other aspects of business, you know, operations and the hard lessons I've learned where, you know, you guys OnPurpose Growth have been teaching me a lot about management and operations and stuff like that. So once we get there, we'll pass the baton off to you, and you can start teaching some of the stuff you know there.
No, appreciate it. We're learning off each other, so this is great. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in this episode. We'll see you next time.
Thanks a lot.